Here's how the pros use electronic drums. That's coming up. What's up? Justin here. Welcome to 65 Drums, the place to keep on top of all things electronic drum related. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. So today I'm talking about how the professionals out there use electronic drums. Most of the famous professional drummers out there, they use electronic drums too, just not in a big flashy way. They don't use them on stage. They use them in a lot of different other little ways, and that's what we're going to get into today. Okay, so let's start off the list with number one. Professionals use electronic drum sets for practice all the time. When you're a famous drummer and you need to nail every single gig, it's not just you at a party like a small 50-person wedding. The big drummers, they got to practice before each show. They got to make sure every single show is perfect. And there are plenty of bands out there that actually warm up on an electronic drum set like behind the main stage. It happens all the time. Roland just released a couple of videos promoting the Roland TD11, and of course I know Roland probably gave these drum sets to these drummers, but drummers legit do warm up on electronic drum sets all the time. For example, the drummer Ian for Deep Purple, he practices on a Roland TD11 KV before every single show. The way Ian explained it in the video was that, hey, I've been playing drums for decades. I've got the chops, I can play on time, I can do great things, but I need to warm up for 5 minutes. And I'd rather warm up on a drum set than a rubber practice pad. And this thing is very compact, it has mesh heads that you can tune up and down, all that great stuff. No, the TD11 KV does not sound amazing, but that's not the whole point. The whole point is that he's practicing on this. He's warming up, he's doing the rudiments. Because what he said was, I want to be 100% on song number 1, not on song number 3. Because it would take 2 or 3 songs for him to actually be at 100% if he didn't warm up beforehand. And again, it's more fun to warm up on a drum set than a rubber practice pad. So that's one way that professionals use electronic drums. They use it as a practice before their main gigs, not necessarily on the main stage itself. And in this case, electronic drum sounds, even though they're terrible on the ones they're using, like the TD11 KV, it's not the greatest sounding electronic drum set, but that's not the purpose of the kit at all. It's a practice tool, and it's going to stand up to the rigors of the road. The second way professional drummers use electronic drums is to learn difficult sections of a song. Certain electronic drum modules let you loop sections of the song. So you can just load the song onto a thumb drive, stick that into the back of the drum module, select the section of the song you want to loop. Maybe it's a really difficult fill, 2 minutes and 9 seconds into the song, and you want to loop that 10-second fill, whatever it is. You can do that and just practice that one fill over and over and over again. The reason why this is a time saver is you don't have to play the entire song over and over and over again. If you're practicing the entire song 20 times, it's going to take you quite a while. But if you're only practicing a 10-second section 20 times, you're going to save a ton of time. I know there's probably apps on your computer that will let you do this through earbuds with an acoustic drum set, but it's a really cool feature of electronic drums, certain modules. One guy that does this is Miley from the band Rival Sons. And while we're talking about practicing, a lot of electronic drum sets have an internal metronome that does really weird time configurations. Also, certain modules let you route the metronome just to your headphones, not to the rest of the band. So that's really cool if you happen to use that electronic drum set in a live situation. One really cool feature of certain Yamaha drum modules is where they actually cut off the sound if you're playing off beat. So if you're playing on beat, it sends the sound through your headphones or through the PA, and the moment you're off beat, it actually cuts out the sound. All you can hear is yourself hitting all these rubber pads. That's really cool. It like shocks you into playing on time. This is a really interesting practice feature. A really cool electronic drum pad is this thing right here. It's the Beatnik Rhythmic Analyzer. It's got an accuracy rating of 1 and 512th of a second. This thing is crazy accurate, and it will let you know how badly you are playing. And you can actually string together a lot of really weird pattern combinations. So you can go quarter notes into 32nd notes into 5/16 notes, like really weird combinations. You can actually, plan it all out and then play this really, really weird pattern, and it tells you percentage-wise how accurate you are. So there are a lot of uses with electronic drums to get better when you're practicing. Another way pro drummers use electronic components is to trigger samples. This can be done in a lot of different ways. One of the most popular ways is just using a Roland SPD-SX pad or an Alesis Sample Pad Pro. Basically a board with maybe 9 pads on it. You hit one of the pads and it's whatever sound you dumped into that little module on the pad. So if you need to trigger certain sounds throughout the song set, you can basically be the DJ of the entire band. A lot of bands use a lot of backing tracks because, for example, if you're a rock band and you have all this orchestral stuff going on in the background, sometimes the band will give that responsibility to the drummer. You need to trigger the orchestral backing track for this song at this particular part of the song by hitting one of these pads on this Roland SPD-SX pad. It's really, really powerful what samples can do. Literally any recording of any sound. If you want a recording of a really famous Simmons sound for an 80s song, like literally the possibilities are endless because it's just a recording of a sound, whatever sound you want. And a lot of electronic drummers use samples. Neil Peart from Rush does this. He actually has a certain rack unit from Roland, I don't remember the exact model name, I'll throw it up on the screen, and he uses this along with a lot of Roland pads to trigger samples. I'm gonna get more into his setup in a separate video I'm gonna do, just a deep dive into all the electronic components in Neil Peart's setup. But yeah, look forward to that video, it's gonna be really cool. Another interesting way professional drummers are using electronic components is putting drum triggers onto their drums and triggering like EDM sounds, or really any sound you want. The idea is that you're layering sounds or using a sound other than your acoustic sound. So the most popular triggers out there are the Roland ones, the RT30s, the RT10s, and a bunch of different ones that D-Drum makes. Now Yamaha's coming out with some interesting drum triggers as well. You basically put these onto the rim of your acoustic drums, probably near a mic somewhere, and those go to a drum module, and then that goes to Ableton or whatever program that you're gonna use, and you're basically triggering sounds. A lot of times a band will want to match the exact sounds that they used on the album. A lot of modern albums, for pop music at least, they're using a lot of electronic drum sounds, a lot of electronic snare, a lot of electronic kick drum sounds, and if they want to match the album, they're going to be using drum triggers with that acoustic drum set. Sometimes an artist has conditioned their audience to expect an exact replica of the album when they're playing live. Sometimes artists do this, or at least they want to have some sort of sonic consistency between the album and the actual live sound. And if they have some sort of weird electronic drum stuff going on, you need to match that somehow. And the way they do that is with drum triggers. Going to a drum module and then to a laptop using some sort of drum software program. Literally countless bands use drum triggers, either to layer sounds with the acoustic drum set or to bypass the acoustic sounds entirely. The drum set's basically there for show. You're just using it as an electronic drum set to trigger sounds from a laptop, at least for certain songs. It gives you a whole lot of power to do literally whatever you want with that drum set. Get whatever sound you want out of that kit. Some studios even use drum triggers, like the YouTube channel Specter Studios. He did a really cool video talking about how he uses drum triggers not to trigger any sound, but to basically help him in the recording process. It's basically a way, it's like a yardstick, a line in the sand saying, hey, he hit the kick drum at this exact moment so we can chop off the ends, and that way you're not getting any sort of mic bleed from the different instruments. You're getting a really clean kick sound, a really clean snare sound. So there's a lot of interesting applications for drum triggers. Number 5, just wanted to throw this out there really quick, orchestral sounds. If drummers want to get those orchestral sounds, but they don't want to lug around humongous, timpanis and all that stuff, they use electronic drum components because, it's just way too much to haul around in your trailer if you want that very specific sound. Again, electronic drum sets just give you a lot of flexibility to get whatever sound you want. Number 6, pro drummers are using electronic drum sets, like the entire electronic drum set, for small gigs. If you're playing at a small little coffee shop, an acoustic drum set will literally blast the room, and you will become the #1 enemy for the guy that owns the bar and everyone else. Like, if you have a really small room, an acoustic drum set is literally a non-starter. You cannot use them. So you could either use a cajon, and how many of us actually like cajons? It makes your hands bleed. Or you could make a tiny little drum set, or you can use an electronic drum set that you can actually play with the regular amount of force and still get a decent sound if you're using the right components. So a lot of professional drummers use electronic drum sets for smaller venues. And finally, number 7, professional drummers use electronic drum sets to record with. It is incredibly easy to record with an electronic drum set. How easy is it? You literally just plug your drum set into a laptop, open up the program, and press record and start playing. And when you're done, press stop. Then save that file and email it to the client. Literally, that's it. You can literally record an entire track in 3 minutes because that's how long it took you to drum that track. No messing with mics, no buying giant, foam pieces to glue to your walls. no messing with EQ or any of that. You can literally email the client a MIDI file. He can plug that into Superior Drummer 3 or whatever drum software he has, and he can just use that in his album. There are a bunch of albums out there that were recorded with an electronic drum set and you had no idea. It's absolutely insane. Now, professional drummers do not use the internal sounds of a drum module because they usually suck. You might get away with them live because an electronic drum module, at least a high-end one, it can blend in with other instruments through a PA and sound halfway decent. But a lot of the bad sound characteristics are exposed during the recording process, but professional drummers always use drum software when actually doing a legit recording. So that tops off the list. If you have any more to add on, leave them down in the comments below. Again, electronic drums are very, very versatile. I love both acoustic and electronic drums. I play them both all the time. I love acoustic drums. There's always going to be something about acoustic drums that you can't quite capture with an electronic drum set, no matter how hard you try. But again, if you use an electronic drum set for its strengths and stop focusing on its weaknesses all the time, you can get amazing results, play both, and you'll be really happy. It gives you a lot of tools as a drummer that you didn't have before. And they've never been better. Electronic drums get better literally every single year, and that's something to be happy about. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you in a few.